All right, so thank you everyone for joining our virtual tech talk, our latest virtual tech talk. This week we're doing Appy Hour, where we're going to be talking about our favorite apps. We surveyed all of our library colleagues and asked them what apps they had that they loved and they wanted to share with our community via our virtual tech talk. And so what we decided was to go ahead and present them all to you because we had a hard time deciding which ones to talk about and which ones to leave off the list. Because we know we all like something a little bit different, and why not hear about something a little bit different too. So just by way of introduction, my name is Casey. I'm the Digital Services Coordinator for the Martin County Library System. What that means is we host a lot of these virtual tech talks. I'm also joined by my colleague Manny, who's going to introduce himself in just a minute. As our little icebreaker today, I wanted to share that since we're talking about smartphones, I wanted to share my first smartphone was a BlackBerry. I used that BlackBerry, I started using it in 2008. And fun fact about my first smartphone, that BlackBerry, my very first app I downloaded onto it is called Shazam. And it's one of my favorite apps and still is to this day. And you're going to hear about it later in today's presentation. So that's just a little bit about me. I currently have an iPhone. So if you have questions related to iPhones, I can try to answer them for you. And now I'm going to let Manny introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Manny. I am one of the lead library specialists at the Martin County Library System. And my first smartphone was a Sidekick. I loved that little brick because it was pretty bulky as a smartphone standards. It was a very bulky phone. And I remember getting it because I was living in another state and my mother was like, I need a way to communicate with you. So she insisted until I went ahead and got a cell phone, and it was that Sidekick. Now, the phone that I use nowadays is LG G7 ThinQ. It's an Android device, and it's flexible and one of the most, well, my standards, one of the most, I'll say, powerful phones out there. At least it was 2 years ago when I got it.
And I don't know if you've ever had conversations with friends about Android and iPhone or Android versus iPhone, but we wanted to make sure we represented both sides of the conversation in today's discussion. So thanks, Manny, for joining, and what a good son. So on today's schedule, I'm just going to do a very brief introduction on what exactly is an app. Then we're going to fly through 60 apps. We have a goal, 60 apps in 60 minutes, and that includes the time we've already spent introducing ourselves. But then we also wanted to open it up to any of you if you had a favorite app to share. We'll open it up at the end to feel free to comment, or if you just want to comment via the chat throughout this whole conversation, we'll be doing it. We can do it then that way. So just to get started, what is an app? Okay, besides an appetizer, an app, the definition of an app is that it's a small piece of software that does one thing or one specific task. I like to make a comparison with Microsoft Outlook or Microsoft Office. So you might have used programs, computer programs in the past that do a variety of things. So if you think about when you check your email, you probably have your email, a calendar feature, an address book. I know Microsoft Outlook is a popular one that a lot of people used to use. And it was a very powerful computer. They had features like label making built in, that you could do mass mailing productions with your contact, your address book. And so that's a traditional computer program. But a while back, mobile phones came into play, and mobile phones didn't have the processing power that like a computer tower offers. And so the app developers had to create these very light pieces of software. And essentially they're called apps. Apps is short for application, I should mention. So these applications do one thing. So if you think about your smartphone now and how you use it, to make a phone call, you use the phone app. I don't know, many people do that these days, but people still talk on their phones. But they also might text using the messaging app. They check their calendar with the calendar app. All right, they take a picture with the camera app. So these are apps that are basically designed to do just a few specific things. And I will add the caveat that the lines are getting blurrier and blurrier these days between app and program. It's because our mobile devices are getting more powerful and we can put more on them and do more on them. They're always with us, unlike a computer that might be tethered to a certain location or not as mobile. And so that's why apps are so important to us on a day-to-day basis. And that's why we're sharing that with you today. Now, for the most of today's session, we are going to be talking about using mobile apps on your phone. So your smartphone, but you can also use apps on a computer. You might have visited the App Store with Microsoft or Apple. TVs have apps on them nowadays, and even smartwatches have apps. So do think of apps as very broad, but again, it's the same function of something very simple, very light, kind of broken up into these separate tasks rather than an all-encompassing program. And then finally, some apps are pre-installed in your device and others you can download or add, you can customize. So some apps you don't have a choice whether or not they exist, and some apps you can add or delete off of your device, essentially your phone. All right, so with that very brief introduction, we are going to cover 60 apps in 60 minutes. We're going to go through these categories here. And Manny and I are going to go kind of trade off and on, but we've got communication, finance, games and puzzles, health, mental health, miscellaneous, nature, news, photography, productivity, reading, of course, we are a library, shopping, social media, sports, streaming, travel, and last but certainly not least, weather. So here we go, and we're going to kick us off with some communication apps, which are very important, and we found in the last 2 years even more important to understand and learn how to communicate virtually. Now we figured we'd get the most obvious app out of the way, and that's Zoom. What we're currently using right now. Zoom came into popularity back in 2020 when everybody was on lockdown and we were looking for ways to communicate, to see our loved ones, to connect with people face to face. And Zoom just was the right thing at the right time, or the right thing at the wrong time, maybe. But it was the perfect solution for our craving of connection. Now, Zoom has free accounts available to all users. I actually was thinking about this virtual tech talk. We did this same virtual tech talk 2 years ago. And back before we had a paid version of Zoom, the library was using a free version of Zoom. And it would cut you off after 40 minutes. And so I remember sending out the link to everybody the day before, just like I would have done yesterday for you all. And then if we were cut off, which didn't always happen, but it was sometimes, but we could never predict when or where. But if we were cut off after that 40-minute mark, we'd just ask everyone to go back and click on that link a second time, and then we'd resume the class we were teaching. So good times, we've come a long way. Zoom still has that 40-minute cutoff that, again, doesn't necessarily happen 100% of the time, but just know it is possible to be cut off unless you have a paid subscription or if you're meeting one-on-one with someone. So if it's just 2 of you that are Zooming, you won't get that cut off either. And the other great thing about Zoom is what we learned during the pandemic is that it's cross-platform, or it's platform agnostic. So Manny and I have already talked about Android versus iPhone, and iPhone users have FaceTime, so they already had that very streamlined method of communicating with people face to face. But Zoom allowed iPhone users and Android users to connect face-to-face, regardless of what mobile device or computer program they were using. So that's a little bit about Zoom.
And speaking of cross-platform, we got WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp is one of the juggernauts of messaging systems out there. It started back in 2009, and it was bought, of course, by Meta, which is the company formerly known as Facebook. WhatsApp is used all over the world. It's completely free to use. And one of the cool things about it is that it also has a desktop client that you are able to use to receive messages and like make calls through it. But as it will only work, the desktop version for the computer will only work as long as your phone, the one that is connected to WhatsApp, is connected to the internet. Now, as I previously said, it is cross-platform, and that is one of the things that messaging apps need, like in these modern times, is that if you are unable to communicate with somebody that has an iPhone or another type of device, or an Android, a different device than you have, you need to be able to contact them. And that's why the cross-platform messaging apps were the ones that became really, really popular. Let's see, besides that, we're going to go ahead and switch off to the very next one. And that is educational apps. So the educational apps are some of the apps that you will be utilizing for to learn, to being able to understand other languages. And the first one we have here in the list is Duolingo. Now, Duolingo is another free app that you're able to use. There's other payment plans for it, but it actually helps users learn different languages by utilizing trees that are tailored to that target language. It uses specific skills to practice vocabulary, grammar, spaced repetition, and it also helps you understand more of how to work and translating from your language to the target language that you are working on trying to learn. Now, Duolingo, the initial idea came up back in 2009 by a Carnegie Mellon University professor, Louis von Ahn. And they started working on the process, but they were unable to go ahead and release the app until 2012. And for our next app, we have
Rosetta Stone. So Rosetta Stone is another language learning app, a very popular program. You might have even heard of it. Rosetta has 23 different languages available, and users love it because it's got a great interface, a great user experience. And for those people that are interested, it offers vocabulary and grammar. So a lot of programs or lessons will focus on one or the other, or one without the other. But people love Rosetta because it does offer that that option, which is great if you're preparing for a trip and you want to understand the basics of a new language, just enough to get around. Or if you want to brush up on a language you knew previously and have not used for many years and want to get a little more comfortable with. Rosetta is a subscription service, but I have great news because I can tell you that this is free with your library card. So a subscription would cost you $36 for a 3-month subscription, or it's $170 per year. But with your library card, if you search the library's website for Rosetta Stone, there's instructions on how to get signed up for free. So good options for you if you're looking to educate yourself on a new language. Another educational app we want to offer, just when we think of education, we often think of kids. PBS Kids is one that the library loves to recommend. It's actually 2 separate apps. There's PBS Kids videos and PBS Kids games. And the reason we can recommend that is because all of the content is appropriate for youth and it's free, which again is very important. I have a niece and 2 nephews, and They will often ask me if they can download something onto my phone or watch a video on YouTube on my phone. And if their parents aren't around, sometimes I get a little nervous that they're going to stumble across something that can be inappropriate or not what they want their children to be exposed to. And so this is a very easy way for me to say, yeah, sure, let's download this app and let's watch this video. And it's a win-win for our family.
All right, well, our next category is finance. So what are you going to use finance apps for? Do you want to create a budget? Do you want to follow that budget and continue on track with it? Do you want to start like tracking your banking through your phone or through an app? Or are you planning on investing and you want to have an app that is able, that allows you to track your investments on real time, whatever you are on, like on the go? This is the category for you. And our very first app is going to be Dave. So what is Dave? Dave is a banking app, just the app. It doesn't have, it's basically a bank that does not have physical locations. And you're going to be sending your money to, like, if you have you're able to send your money as soon as you get your paycheck directly towards Dave. And the cool thing about Dave, of course, is, well, it sounds like I'm advertising Dave right now, but it helps improve your financial health through some of their financial tools. And even though it's a bank, it also allows you to go ahead and create your own budget and keep track of your expenses and compare it directly to your budget immediately. If you have set up your paycheck to go directly to Dave, you can also get the money earlier, and it helps you track your credit score and build credit too. One of the cool things that I found out while I was researching Dave is that it also allows you to find side hustles. And you will find that on their own website, that if you need some extra money, you can go to through Dave and find like side jobs, depending on the area where you are at. And if there's any like hustles connected to Dave. And our next app is.
Very cool. So our next app is called Stash, and I had actually never heard of Stash before. So I watched some YouTube videos over the last week. And Stash is a micro investing platform for people who are interested in investing in the stock market, but they don't want to invest the hundreds of dollars that it takes to buy a share or two of certain stocks. It's a $5 minimum, and Stash uses what's called fractional investing, which is basically allowing you to combine your money with other people to buy a fraction of a stock, of a share in a stock. So very accessible for people that want to learn a little bit about investing. They also have some features that you can like continue to invest, like I want to add $5 a week. So it pulls from your bank account and adds $5 a week into your Stash account. Or you can have it just as you spend money, it'll round up to the nearest dollar and add those coins, essentially those coins that add that to your Stash account too. So for example, if I were to go to Starbucks and buy a coffee for $3.50, it's probably like $6.50 actually. Okay, so if I were to go to Starbucks and buy a coffee for $6.50, it would round up to $7, and Starbucks would get $6.50 and 50 cents would go into my Stash account to put towards more stock. So that's kind of how Stash works. People really like it. It is a subscription. So just as an FYI, their lowest plans start out at $1 a month, and their highest plans go up to $9 a month. And their higher plans do include investment tips and other like premium features that I would look in investigating. I will probably be investigating this app personally going forward because I didn't even know this sort of thing existed. And I'll take the time just to say, as I flip to the next slide, that Manny and I are obviously not endorsing any of these apps. Like he said, we're not financial advisors. We're just here to give you new ideas and things to explore.
And I am really glad you mentioned that, because I was about to go ahead and make the same statement, since it sounds like we're just making an advertisement for them. So our next app is Mint. Now, fun fact, I used Mint. The first time I used it was like about maybe 7 years ago. I started using it, and it was because I had 2 different bank accounts, and I have no way. I was getting tired of having to switch from one app to the other. So I went ahead and I created a Mint account, and I was able to put my 2 bank accounts and basically synchronize them with Mint. And I would have information of like my expenses and how much money I was making, and create a budget through it. And that's what Mint is. It's basically a budgeting tool where you can synchronize your banks to it and get all the information of your expenses right through there and just one simple app. One of the other cool things about it is that it's very simple to use and understand. The user interface is seamless. It's easy to just read where is your money going, and they organize it in a way that you can just look at it through charts. It also, if you connect your credit score to it, it will also help you build your credit score by giving you a small insight on how to access, well, how to spend your money and how to get out of debt faster. Now, this company is connected, well, Mint is owned by Intuit, and which connects it to TurboTax, QuickBooks, and Credit Karma. So you can get the full suite of like financial management tools right through it. And our next app is?
I had forgotten about Mint, and I'd forgotten they were owned by Intuit. Interesting. Our next app is YNAB, and YNAB stands for You Need a Budget. YNAB has been around for a while. It was originally a website, kind of like a lot of these actually, now that I think about it. But then it was built into an app because people are very mobile, and it has that great visual interface that Manny was talking about with Mint. It is a subscription app, I just want to say up front, but essentially it's like the name implies, it helps you get your spending under control. So it helps you, number one, raise awareness to see where exactly you're spending your money. So a lot of it is just establishing a baseline, and then, you know, with the pie charts and the visuals that really let you see where your money's going on a day-to-day basis, and then making your budget and adjusting your spending according to your goals. You know, you can set savings targets, whether it's for a vacation or retirement or, you know, a big purchase. It's visual, it's motivating, and it's been around for a long time with a lot of great feedback, and people are really big fans of it.
All right, our next category is going to be games and puzzles. One could say that is my favorite category. And to go ahead and get started, the first one, like for example, if you have some downtime or some free time, you're a passenger in the car and it's a long ride, what better way to entertain yourself than with games and puzzles? Our very first one is going to be Pokemon Go. What a time to be alive was 2016 when Pokemon Go first was released. The world was full of hope and everybody was out there trying to catch Pokemon. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people were actually doing it. And it's been a long time since Pokemon Go was released, but it's still strong. There's way many more Pokemons now to catch. And it's also a good app to just go out there and find something to do as you're walking around your town or your area. You can use the walking to just catch Pokemon on the go. Share with friends, maybe trade some Pokemon with your friends, and connect with some of younger generations. For example, one of the libraries where I work, all the teens are always playing Pokemon Go. And they will like ask me, hey, do you want to go ahead and take over a gym, which is like a specific location where you can store Pokemons to protect that area. It's a fun game, I have to say. I really enjoy it. I don't use it as much because I don't have as much time as I used to just go out there and walk. And our next one is, of course, the New York Times Crossword Puzzle. Now, there are two versions of this one. There's the once you get it, you have access to the regular crossword puzzle and the crossword puzzle, meaning that you can solve it in a way shorter time. Like if you don't have a full hour or longer to go ahead and fill out the crossword puzzle, you can just go ahead and work on the mini. That will take you maybe 2, maybe 10 minutes. The cool thing about this is the New York Times crossword puzzle is completely free, but it comes with ads. You can pay to remove the ads. That way you don't have to deal with that and just get directly to your puzzle. But other than that, is just one of those things that help you keep your mind sharp and work on the spelling bee too. And our next category is going to be.
Our next category is health apps. Okay, so these are apps that span the broad spectrum of what's considered health. But bear with me, we're going to go through pretty quick. The first one is called Downdog. And Downdog is actually a series of different apps, but I'm going to focus on the yoga app for now. And the name is kind of cute because Downdog is a yoga pose. But basically, I love this app because you can customize your yoga practice depending on how much time you want to spend that day, what target area you're working on, what type of yoga you want to practice. So like there's yin yoga, which is kind of you hold a position for a minute or two, and a lot of it is laying down. And so it's really deep stretching. There's vinyasa yoga, which is like the more traditional type of yoga that you might find in a studio. There's chair yoga. There's laying down yoga. So if you have 20 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes, you just kind of punch in your criteria. It's like one of those Wheel of Fortune, like spin the wheel sort of things. So you might want to do like work on hip flexibility for 20 minutes, doing vinyasa yoga. And then you type in all this criteria and it generates a yoga practice for you to follow. You can pick your background music, you can pick your instructor. It's amazing how realistic everything looks. And then they have the video that you can follow along and watch in case you aren't familiar with the poses. So really customizable. And the examples I gave were for yoga, but they have a series of apps that include the running version, a meditation version, and the HIIT version. And HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. So again, if you've only got 5 minutes and you want to do something, you can just punch in 5 minutes and poof, you've got your exercise. This is also a subscription. I do believe they have a free trial, and they often have very steep discounts. So if this is something you're interested in, visit their website or sign up for their email alerts, and when they have like 90% off their subscription plan, that's when you can buy it. The next app, is MealLime. So MealLime is a meal planning app that is great for those of you that like to meal plan, you like to get a grocery list together. It's got recipes, and then it will automatically generate the grocery list based on the recipes that you put together for the week. You can uncheck the options that you already have in your pantry or your fridge. Or the reason I really like to use this app is because I can pick a specific ingredient that I might have bought a lot of and need to use, and then ask for all the recipes that have tomatoes, or all the recipes that most recently I just bought a big bunch of parsley and I only needed a tiny bit. So I'm like, what recipes have parsley in them? So it's really great for those who meal plan or those who are looking for new and different recipes as well. They also have, before I forget, they also have recipes that you can filter by dietary needs as well. So if you need gluten-free, you can only see gluten-free recipes. If you want low carb, there's that option as well. If you want low sugar. So really a nice, robust way to filter through rather than Googling, which to me is just very overwhelming with looking for recipes. Our next app is called MyFitnessPal. And I kind of think of this as like the calorie version of You Need a Budget. It's basically how to track your calories, your intake, how much water you're drinking. And it's a very robust database filled with barcodes and nutrition information of all your favorite foods and some of your not so favorite foods like kale. So basically you track what you eat for breakfast, you track what you eat for lunch. If you're eating packaged food, there's a barcode. It uses the camera on your phone. You can scan the barcode and it automatically finds it in the database and imports, what's one taco shell if I'm eating a taco at lunch. Okay, one tablespoon of sour cream, 2 ounces of cheese, 3 ounces of ground beef. You add in all that information, and then you have, number one, first and foremost, an awareness of the type of energy you're consuming and the type of energy you're using. And then also, if you want to make any changes, you can go from there. So this is a super popular app. Some people love it, some people hate it. You can make friends on it, or not make friends, but you can connect with other people, because sometimes accountability is a very motivating factor for some people. So just a really, really robust resource for people looking to raise awareness on what they're eating and their nutrition. Okay, so that is our health category. Now we're going to do a slight pivot over to mental health, and because there's been a big focus on mental health in the last few years, self-care, and that's why I found some really interesting apps that would love to share with you all here. So the first app I want to cover, I don't actually use this one personally, but I have heard good things about it. It's called #SelfCare, and it's basically using mental health resources to make a game out of therapy treatments that treat things like anxiety or depression. So I did play around with it like a couple of years ago just to kind of understand what it was, but like I remember somebody telling me on the app, it's like you click and drag to like sort your laundry, which some people find very soothing. So if they're feeling stressed out or anxious, they can use this app to go through these exercises that calm you down, and you have these like holistic treatments essentially, but just through an app, and you're not worried that you're in therapy, but you're rather just playing a game, so different options for different people. And then Annie's up for this one.
Alrighty, the next app is IAM. Now, IAM is an app that concentrates more into self-care, but via like daily affirmations. So if you're struggling with negative thoughts, if you're struggling with low self-esteem or like negative thought patterns, daily affirmations are ways that you can go ahead and help rewire your brain by going ahead and basically stating your purpose, stating who you are or who you want to be. And you will do those exercises like basically daily. Now, through this app, you can choose how many daily intentions and affirmations you would like to exercise. And it helps you to set reminders throughout the day to work on those exercises, and it delivers you the affirmations that you have set as a goal. Now, positive affirmations not only do help make like major shifts on your mindset, but they also serve you to basically prompt and remind who you are and who you want to be, what you're truly capable of, and making sure that you have an amazing day every day. Now, as like Buddha said one time, you become what you believe. So it's one of those that helps you take care of yourself in a better way by reminding who you are.
And that's a great transition to our last mental health app to talk about today, and that's Insight Timer. Insight Timer is a meditation app that guides you through the process of meditation. I personally had been interested in meditation for several years and had heard about a few other apps that you pay for subscriptions like Headspace or Calm, but it wasn't until someone told me about Insight Timer, which is a free app with free content, that I really got a chance to work through, like to actually experience meditation and understand it a little bit better. Again, it's one of those where if you only have 5 minutes, you can find a 5-minute meditation. If you've got 20 minutes or an hour, you can find meditations to suit all your needs on all different types of topics. There's different instructors who focus on different things, anything from gratitude, anxiety, sleeplessness, meditations to help you focus, meditations to make you stay calm or be calm. There's meditations to do at night, meditations to do, in the morning with the sunrise, meditations to do while you're walking your dog. So quite the variety of teachers, styles, genre, I'll say, for lack of a better word, with the type of meditation. So if you're looking to start and you don't know where to start, Insight Timer is a great place. Okay, so our next category, we've just called miscellaneous because honestly, we couldn't figure out really how to categorize a lot of these. So this is a substantial category. But the first one I kind of alluded to at the very beginning when I talked about the very first app on my very first smartphone, which was the BlackBerry. Shazam remains like one of my favorite apps because it's just mind-blowing how it works. So Shazam is a music identification app. So there are many times where I'm out at a restaurant, or I should say riding in the car. I do not do this while driving. But if I hear a song and want to know who sang it, maybe I can't quite place it and it's bothering me, or maybe I've never heard it before and I really want to find out who the artist is so I can, listen to it again or buy the song or buy the album. Shazam, you open up the Shazam app, you basically just tap on the huge button that looks like the app right here. It listens for a few seconds and then it will tell you what song is playing or what song you're hearing. It's just magic in my mind. And I don't really want to know how it works. I want it to remain magic, just Shazam, which is, I think it's such a great name for it too. It's gotten a lot fancier over the last 15 years. Nowadays, it's got the option you can actually just buy the song through like Apple Music on my iPhone, at least. It's got a link to just buy directly. It'll show me the lyrics, especially if it's a popular song or a recent song, which is kind of fun if you're trying to figure out what they're saying and you can't quite understand or can't quite follow. So yeah, just a super fun, magical app that makes me smile. Another fun magical app that makes me smile is called Plantnet. And this is just basically a plant identification tool. You use the app, and with the camera on your phone, if you're trying to figure out what plant you're looking at, maybe you're in your yard, maybe you're at a local nursery, maybe you're walking in the woods, maybe you're on vacation in someplace exotic and you don't recognize anything. But you pull out your phone, open up the app. The app views the plant through the camera and then brings back what plant you're looking at. Now, in some cases, it might bring up a few different options, and then you can kind of look at other pictures to compare. But it's just a fun, for those of you that like plants, I've just recently gotten into plants. And so this one will be very helpful for me as I kind of explore the future and what plants I look to add to my home.
Alrighty, so this is basically one of my favorite websites and also one of my favorite apps, and it is basically the name Reddit. Now, Reddit is an online forum where you can find different communities labeled as subreddits, and those communities can be hobbies, information that you're looking for, like either news that you're interested in, countries, even areas around you or states. And each one of those subreddits is a community with people offering information, people asking questions, people trying to find out help or services in the area. And sometimes it's just people like sharing funny pictures or memes or other media that you might be interested in. Now, there's over 100,000 communities in Reddit, about almost every topic that you can imagine or think of. It's a place where you can just dive in and connect with people on any topic that you're interested in. And our next app is
Skyview. So this is something that everybody might have heard of at this point, but Skyview is a stargazing app. And this is another one that's been around for over 10 years now, with a free version and also a paid version. But basically, Skyview allows you to, again, using the camera on your phone, hold your phone up to the sky to identify different constellations that you're looking at or planets that you might see. So maybe you're out and see the stars and you're wondering what you're looking at. You just open up this app and hold up your phone. And based on your location, the time of year it might be, and the little dots of light in the sky, the app will be able to give you information on what you're looking at. You can read about the history or maybe the background of the constellation. And it's a super fun and popular app for people to use.
Alrighty, our next app is Urban Dictionary. Now, this is a completely free app that you will utilize if you are trying to figure out a slang word that you don't know the meaning of. You'll go into Urban Dictionary, you will write down the slang or the word that you're trying to figure out what it is, and you will find like several answers from it. Now, each one of those answers are provided by somebody else. It's a crowdsourced dictionary where people go in, write down whatever they use that word for, and then you can go ahead and research for that word and find what different people use it for. It's a great way to try to figure out what I use it for is try to figure out what some of my younger coworkers or some of the younger patrons around the library try to mean when they say a word that I am not familiar with. And our next app is?
Our next app is Life 360. Now this recommendation came from one of our library staff members with teenage drivers in her household. So she uses it as a location sharing app with her friends and family. She can see where her family has been. It has automatic car crash detection and automated SOS messaging. So if someone does get in a crash, it'll automatically alert the rest of the family and they can try calling. They also get driver reports and a family driving history too. So if anyone has teenage drivers or any just want to share their location with their family members, this one came recommended from our coworker.
Now let's go ahead and talk about music apps. These apps are usually utilized if you want to go ahead and listen to music while on the go. Are you either exercising or driving or just at home and you want to find a specific song or a specific radio, like basically playlist of songs connected to that specific like genre that you want to search for. And the first one in the list is Pandora. Now, Pandora is free, but it comes with different plans that you can go ahead and pay. And there are two plans, besides, of course, the free one is Pandora Plus, which is $5 a month. And it's, as opposed to the free version, this one is completely ad-free. You search and play what you want without having to worry about being redirected just to a playlist of similar songs, and hope that the song that you're looking for plays. You can enjoy your favorite podcast and you have unlimited ability to skip. And it also offers you offline listening, meaning that you can download those songs on your phone, but it will only play on Pandora. The Pandora Premium is $10 a month, and it offers everything that the Pandora Plus version offered, but it allows you to make and share playlists. And our next one is Spotify. Now, this one is very similar to Pandora, but it offers way more plans and it has way bigger catalog of songs than Pandora. Now, the plans for this one start for like the student version that will be $5. And it will just be one account that is, it has ads in, like you're gonna have to deal with the ads if you have the student account. Then the individual account is $10 and it's ad-free listening, and it lets you play your music anywhere, even if you're online, even if you're offline, and it's on-demand playback. So you can go ahead and play whatever song you want and it will play it immediately, as opposed to the free plan that it will just redirect you to music similar to the one that you were looking for. Then they have a plan for 2 accounts that will be $13, and the family plan that will allow 6 accounts in for $16. And our next category is
nature apps. So this category is basically just a couple apps that are outdoorsy. The first app I want to talk about is a true favorite of mine called All Trails. I really like to hike. I really like to spend time outdoors. And All Trail is an app that will show me both local trails that I can go on, whether it's mountain biking, horseback riding, hiking, not locally, but there's also options for snowshoeing, I believe. We have bird watching trails nearby. But again, this app kind of shows you everything and then lets you pick and choose based on how much time you have, how far you want to go, what your activity level wants to be for that day. So if I want to go a mile on an easy trail because I'm bringing the kids with me or I'm bringing the dog with me, these are all filters that you can adjust to have them show you anything within the immediate area. I've also used this for planning trips. So just for example, I went to Acadia National Park last fall. They have a lot of different trails there, like over 100. And so I was able to like pick some harder trails, some more technical trails, trails that met up with other trails. And then the premium version, so that the app itself, and this is also a website too, if you just want to check out alltrails.com. But the premium option gives you the ability to download the trail maps for even when you're offline, which would have been great if I'd known that, because not every place has cell phone service. So if you're hiking a lot in places that don't have cell phone service, definitely look into that. You can also see comments or ratings from other hikers or users of the trail. So I've used it to give myself a heads up, like, oh, this trail's flooded this week, so let me pick a different place. Walk counterclockwise on this trail rather than clockwise because it's prettier. So just different tips and tricks that you can hear from others, as well as finding the beauty in your area, which we have a lot of here in Martin County. Very briefly, I'm going to talk about iNaturalist, which is another app that came recommended from one of our coworkers. iNaturalist is a joint initiative from the California Academy of Sciences and the National Geographic Society. So this one does include plant ID, but it also has other types of IDs like insects and I think some animals as well, some flora and fauna. You can share with other naturalists. And the interesting part about this is that it's kind of that citizen scientist mentality of you take a picture of something with your camera, the database can analyze it and identify it for you. But also then your information goes into a bigger data repository that scientists can use to understand migration patterns and what's in bloom in different areas at certain times of year. So all of that information gets crowdsourced that different scientific groups have access to the data. So pretty interesting from a big picture perspective.
Now for news app, we only have 2 examples over here that are like very different from each other. But if you're looking for a specific news outlet, you're going to be able to find an app version if it's a big enough news outlet. Basically any country or like international wide news outlet, you'll find an app for it that you can just go ahead and click and read on your phone. Now, the first example that we have over here is NBC News. There we go. So NBC
Sorry.
News is just anything that you can find on the NBC website or their channel, you'll find it on NBC News. And our next one is
Apple News, and I'm talking about this one because this is just for Apple users, but Apple News is a news aggregator. So basically it pulls from the Wall Street Journal, from Variety, from CNN. It comes pre-installed on any of your Apple devices that you might have, your iPad, your phone, even your watch. There's the editor curated news feed to give you kind of that big picture, major headline perspective, but also then you can kind of create a personalized news feed as well to pick and choose the topics or news outlets that you're most interested in hearing from. Very brief on news. There's a lot of news apps out there, but we do want to talk about photography too, because there's a lot of photography apps, but we have some favorites. One of the ones that came highly recommended to us is called Pic Collage. And this is a great resource for anyone who likes to add like stickers or words to a picture, or kind of make a grid with different pictures in a collage, a digital collage with different pictures in a grid format. So if you've ever seen people making pictures with like the thought bubbles coming out of their head and text in the thought bubbles, they're probably using an app similar to this, and Pic Collage is one of the bigger ones out on our market. So really fun if you like to make funny stuff or cute stuff and share with your friends and family. Snapseed is a personal favorite of mine, which is, it's really good for getting really robust photo editing tools. You want to play with exposure or brightness or hue or tint. If you don't know what those things are, one of the great things about Snapseed is you don't change your picture at all. You can always just save a second copy. So your original picture stays in its original format, and then you can make a copy and edit the copy. And then it's kind of like a little slider scale. So if you want to slide the scale all the way up on exposure, you can actually see what it looks like for a picture to be overexposed, or slide it all the way down and see what a picture looks like to be underexposed. So if you're looking to kind of understand what some of these tools are, Snapseed is a great place. It doesn't teach you, but it gives you the hands-on, just kind of, I want to see what happens when I press this option. And so a really great tool and free. And then finally, Canva is Canva's a great graphic design tool. So it does pictures and photo editing, but it also just allows you to do graphics as well. So like this slide, for example, was done in Canva. So not necessarily a photograph of anything, but images still on the screen. There's a free version of it that you can do. There's also a premium version, of course. I've done wedding and baby shower invitations in Canva. It's fairly user-friendly, and yeah, can't beat the price.
Now we're going to be talking about productivity apps. Now, these are the apps that will help you maximize your efficiency, minimize distractions, and remember things that you should remember. Our first one on the list is going to be Evernote. Now, this one right over here allows you to basically keep a calendar of your reminders, tasks, and just to basically build a schedule for yourself. And our next one in the list, of course, we got is Genius Scan. Now, this app is pretty cool. If you find yourself having difficulties scanning documents, or need to scan a document like real quick, you're not able to get access to a scanner, Genius Scan is the app for you. You will grab you will use your camera to take a photo of the document and basically transform it as a PDF for you. Our next app, of course, is iRobot. And iRobot is the app that would help you if you have a Roomba at home, basically to use and map your whole home organize the Roomba path for it to clean your house. The next app is LastPass. Now, this app I use myself all the time to remember the passwords that I have, because nowadays, if you're using a computer for anything, you're going to have a lot of passwords, especially the password for email, your like banking passwords, any of the passwords that you have. LastPass is the way to go. Now, the thing about LastPass is that the free version would only allow you to either use it on your phone or on the computer, one at a time. And if you want to use it on both, you will actually have to like get the paid version of it. The next app is Out of Milk. Now, this app is basically to create shopping lists and sync them, maybe share with family members. If you have a household, you find yourself always running out of something in your pantry, and you want to create a shopping list that like people in your household can share with you and edit at the same time. Out of Milk is the app for that. And our next app is QReader. Now, if you find yourself trying to figure out how to access a QR code or a barcode, QReader is the app that will just go ahead and read it for you. You will open the app and just point the camera directly at the QR or barcode and will read it, send you to the link that it is or the product that you're trying to get. And our next category is,
and I'll chime in just to let Apple users know that your camera has a built-in QR code scanner. So just the regular camera app works for that, although the barcode reader is separate. Our next category is going to be reading apps, our favorite category. Not that we're biased, but
alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk about Libby. Sorry about that. I was on mute for a second trying to catch my breath. So Libby is the app that the Martin County Library System uses to manage our online catalog. In there, you're going to find our ebooks, our audiobooks. You will be able to find some of the magazines that we have in our catalog and be able to read or listen to them.
And we should mention that we have a lot of Libby classes coming up in the month of April in person at several different branches. So if you want to learn more about Libby or having trouble with it, come see us at the library. Sorry.
Now, our next app is going to be Beanstack. Now, we utilize Beanstack to keep track of the books that you can use it to keep track of the books that you are currently reading. And I personally use Beanstack for some of our like events, or not necessarily events, but promotions. The one that I used the most was the one for 5,000 books before kindergarten. And I used that with my daughter. And we basically finished the 5,000 books before she even joined kindergarten. That was one of the highlights for me of parenting, knowing that me and my daughter read 5,000 books together.
All right, well, this is one that I had to ask some coworkers for a little more information on, and it was new to me, but Webtoon is an app that was described to me kind of like manga meets graphic novels. So if you're a graphic novel reader, you might be interested or want to be a graphic novel reader, you might be interested in Webtoons, which is a free app that basically has panels or pages that you swipe through to read a story. Now, a lot of stories have different episodes or different chapters, and these chapters or episodes will be released on a weekly basis. You can have alerts set up to let you know when there's a new episode of the story that you're following. So something fun and new to try out. And then finally, in the reading category, we have to mention Goodreads, which is a fan favorite for heavy readers. So Goodreads is a great way to track the books that you've read. And Manny mentioned Beanstack, and Goodreads is kind of like Beanstack, only with more bells and more whistles and a way to connect with other readers that are also on Goodreads. So there's definitely a social element. So I'm friends with several coworkers on the Goodreads app. We can see what each other is reading. We can comment on it. So it's a fun way to connect with other readers that you may be friends with, or authors too. The other thing about Goodreads is that you can track books you want to read. So you can just tag different books, put them on your to read shelf. You can make notes to yourself, like why you added this. Sometimes I would have a list in my notes app on my phone, and then it just got to be too hard to keep track of, or I couldn't remember who told me to read what. And Goodreads solves a lot of those problems. And actually, kind of like MyFitnessPal, there's a barcode reader so that it scans the barcode on the back of a library book. And then it just automatically imports that information into your phone too. If you have the physical book in your hand, you can scan it without even having to search or type all the information in there. So really fun, great way to track the books you read and connect with others. All right, we are winding down. We did not hit our goal of 60 apps in 60 minutes, but we are getting towards the end. And we'll probably fly through some of these last categories because there's probably a lot of overlap. But our next category is going to be on shopping. Manny?
And the first app, the juggernaut of all, Amazon. If you're looking for something on like some of your local stores and you cannot find it, you realize I'm going to have to get it delivered. Amazon is the way to go. You get the app, you can search for anything there and just make the purchase directly from the app and have it delivered to your home as soon as possible. Our next app, of course, is going to be, now this one was great that one of our coworkers told us about it, because right now the gas prices just keep going up, and Gas Buddy is the way to learn which is the gas station that has the lowest price. You can actually pay the pump that you're using, like some of the pumps, of course, not all of them, through Gas Buddy, and without having to use your like debit or credit card right there in the station. Our next app is,
and I'm just going to chime in about Gas Buddy too, that it's great during a hurricane when some gas stations are out of gas, to find which gas stations still have gas using Gas Buddy. We recommend that to people during hurricanes. And our next app is Ibotta. So Ibotta is for anyone who loves coupon clipping. It's basically a way to clip coupons, but after you purchase something. So you go to the store, you go to Publix, shop for your groceries, and then you can scan your receipt, and Ibotta will look for any coupons that are available and give you the money back essentially for anything. Even though you didn't have the coupon, it will refund you the money that a coupon would have provided. There's also loyalty points built into Ibotta. So rather than having, the Walgreens app and the CVS app and the, I don't do a lot of loyalty apps, but if you had all these apps, Ibotta is a great way to pull all those together, track your rewards points, your loyalty, and apply coupons to your receipts, even after you've purchased it, all from your phone. All right, our next category is social media. We can't talk about apps and not hit on some social media apps. We'll try to just stick with some of the newer ones. Instagram is it's originally designed to be a photo sharing. So a lot of us are familiar with Facebook or Meta now. Meta owns Instagram, and people post pictures and then use the editing tools within Instagram to share and comment on their friends and family's pictures. As I was reviewing Snapchat, I did want to talk about Snapchat because it's been around for like 10 years now already. It feels like something that, the kids do. And it is people, you take snaps or pictures and they post them to their profile, and the big feature that was super popular with Snapchat users was the fact that their pictures or their uploads would disappear after 24 hours. That was very edgy and cool 10 years ago. Now, Facebook and Instagram and other social networks have jumped on board of that trend. So they all offer that feature now in some similar fashion. And the other feature that I realized Snapchat was kind of breaking ground on that everybody uses today are filters. So we all want to look better in pictures. Snapchat was really one of the first apps or programs to have filters built in. They started out as kind of fun. You know, you could take a selfie and you would have puppy ears and a puppy nose on your face, or you'd have like 70s sunglasses that superimpose on your picture, and then you post that. And then they got to be more realistic looking. So even something like Zoom has filters built into it these days. Zoom has like a filter, an option called Touch Up My Appearance, and I use that on a regular basis, which, you know, just makes me look like I'm wearing makeup to everybody on camera, but I'm not actually wearing any in real life. So we can all thank Snapchat for that. TikTok is another one that you've probably heard of in the last 2 years. It's got huge. It's got over 1 billion users, but it's a video focused social networking app, and they've got different genres. Like a lot of pranks get posted on TikTok, dances, life hacks. I'm into some organizational stuff right now, and so I discover some random really helpful stuff on TikTok, and these videos last anywhere from 15 seconds up to 10 minutes. I mentioned already that they've got 1 billion users already, and the other thing I found in my research is that TikTok was the most popular website of 2021, meaning it beat out Google as being the most popular website, and I just think that's insane.
Honestly, I think that's incredible. But our next app is Tumblr. Now, Tumblr, it's most of a blogging website where people used their own space to blog about their lives, post pictures, now memes, some of the art that they create. It is the way that they explain it themselves is an effervescent packet of pure internet culture. And our next category is
sports. We might go kind of fast through the sports, but we can't neglect sports for our sports fans out there. ESPN Plus was recommended to us for good content. I remember watching the 30 for 30 ESPN videos produced and directed by ESPN, but people who like niche live sports really love this app. So NHL viewers, Major League Soccer viewers, UFC viewers, all of those leagues are available to watch live with ESPN Plus. It's great because you can customize it to your favorite teams to follow. Sometimes if you live out of the area of your favorite team, you might not get it through your cable provider, but you can access it through ESPN Plus. It does require a subscription, so it's just like cable in that you have to pay. But Manny's going to talk about the Disney and Hulu in just a minute. But if you have the Disney bundle, which is Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN, it's all included, your subscription. And NFL and NBA actually aren't included in the ESPN app. So if you're looking to watch NFL games, we wanted to share with you that the NFL app is available. Not included as part of the ESPN app, but you can watch games, check scores, get breaking news alerts. So if you want to be the first one to hear Tom Brady's retiring for the 3rd time, you can have that alert set up on your mobile device. This does require a subscription too to watch live games. But some of the other stuff that we mentioned, like checking scores and getting news alerts, that is part of the free app. All right, and our next category is going to be kind of a good segue. We talked about streaming sports, and now we're going to talk about streaming original content.
That's right. I got a little bit carried away there, but our first streaming app is Disney Plus. You can find Disney Plus on smart TVs. You can go ahead and access it through your phone as an app, a tablet, and as like Casey already mentioned, you can get the bundle of Hulu, Disney Plus, and the ESPN. And with Disney Plus, you also have access to National Geographic. Now, if you want to watch some of the Marvel movies, Disney movies, and Disney Plus is the best streaming app. If you're looking for them, this is most likely where you're going to be able to find it. Next on the list, we have HBO Max. If you're looking for HBO shows, this is the streaming like app that you're going to be using. They also are able to get some of the early, like recently released movies. You were going to most likely find them first on HBO Max. And next on the list, we have Hulu. Now, Hulu got bought by Disney, so they're kind of connected, but they still have their own separate platform for streaming. And you can find some of the like ongoing shows right there. You also find some of their original movies and original shows right on Hulu. And the next one is
Netflix. Okay, so one of the original streaming platforms. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Netflix is a website. It's an app on TVs that a lot of people will add. They have great original content that's very popular. I will mention the nice thing about the app is that you can download some movies or TV shows to watch them offline. So when we talk about streaming means you're connected to the internet and you're basically broadcasting through the internet a TV show or movie. If you don't have internet access, you're not able to stream. But like I said, with Netflix app, you can download a movie. That way you can watch it if you're going somewhere without an internet connection. I know a lot of people do when they're about to fly on an airplane. They can download a movie since they're not sure if they'll have Wi-Fi in the air. Finally, I want to mention another favorite app of mine called Just Watch. If you have Disney Plus and HBO Max and Hulu and Netflix, a lot of people have all of these different streaming services. Amazon Prime, that's another one we didn't mention. But where to watch what? Like if I wanted to look up a movie, how would I know? I don't want to have to check 5 or 6 different places to find out where I can watch that movie. Just Watch is an app that if you type in the movie's name, it'll tell you which streaming platform you can stream it. If you have a subscription, you can rent or buy it from, or if it's just not available. And I'm actually shocked at how much still isn't available for streaming. But thankfully we have a DVD collection at the library that I can check a movie out from if that's ever the case. So Just Watch is a great app and it's free. Our travel category is one of my favorites because I love to travel. One of my favorite apps is Kayak. It's also a website, but I find myself using the app quite a bit. It's a travel aggregator, so it will search flights from Delta, American, Allegiant, you name the airline. And if I do one search, maybe I want to go PBI to New York City, it'll give me all the different time options, cost options, how much luggage costs for each airline. So it's a really robust search engine when I just kind of want to get a general idea and know some different options for what a trip might look like, or more importantly, cost. And then I did want to spend a minute to mention Mobile Passport Control, which is my hands down favorite app to tell people about when they're traveling internationally and coming back into the country. Now, it's been a few years since I've personally been able to use this because I haven't done a lot of international travel, but I used to work on a cruise ship and would constantly be flying on international flights. Coming into the country, I don't know if anybody's had this experience, but there can be very long lines of going through customs. Mobile Passport Control allows you to basically bypass the the customs line with hundreds of people in it because they have a separate line just for people that use this app. And there's never once been anybody in line ahead of me for that, or not that a line I had to wait in. Everybody just kind of walks through. Essentially, if you think of their declaration form that you have to fill out either when you're coming in from a cruise that was traveling outside the US or flying into the country from international place, you have to fill out that customs form either when you're on the plane or getting off the cruise ship. And then you bring it to the person, the customs agent, you show them your passport, they kind of look at it, and then you're on your merry way and you talk about declarations. Well, this app allows you to put all of that in automatically. It generates a code that you just scan very quickly and you're on your way. And so it's very user-friendly, but also it saved me hours before, and it's just a great thing to do. Just a great thing to be aware of.
Now, our last category,
Our
of
last
course, we
category.
saved, that's right, we saved the best for last, weather apps. And the first one on the list is Climb. Now, Climb is not just a weather app because it will actually show you some of the the radar situation happening around your area or like around the world if you're interested in. And it uses the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. It uses the radar to like keep everything in track. And our next app is
One Weather, and this one also came highly recommended from a coworker. It gives 48 hours of hourly forecast. So I like to get pretty granular with what time. Sometimes if I go for a walk, I want to know if it's going to get rainy. It does 10 days of daily weather forecast. It's got the live weather that Manny mentioned with the Climb app. It's got dark mode. You can see sunrise, sunset, moon, phase of the moon. One Weather is ad supported, so you might see some annoying ads, but if you want to pay a couple bucks a month, you can have those ads removed to have the premium version. Thank you. We definitely didn't hit our goal of 60 apps in 60 minutes, but I appreciate everybody staying with us, and wanted to go ahead and see if anybody had any comments in the chat or any apps that they would want to share with the rest of us, because I know there's no way we could have covered everything. And we love hearing, I think even some of the recommendations that we talked about today, we've heard from people in the past. So, oh, good. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for commenting. Like I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and record or put this recording on the library's YouTube channel, like we always try to do. And then I will send out the slides and the YouTube link probably early next week. I try to do it. But if you got an email from me yesterday, that means I have your correct email address, and we'll get these materials out to you as soon as possible. Thank you again, everybody. Have a great day. And we'll see you at our next virtual tech